Hello, I'm Emmeline.
And I'm Kindy.
And welcome to Stuff with Moms, a podcast about shows, stories, and enjoying life. So, Kindy, how was your week?
It was good. I only worked 8 hours a day, so I was able to do other things, which was nice. I'm trying to think. The only thing I can think of was the activity we did today, which was we went to, it's up in Logan. I can never remember what it's called, but it's where they have baby animals.
Oh, yeah, the baby animal parade or zoo or something.
Yeah, animal days or something. Yeah, and they have all sorts of, like, the last time we went, it was 2 years ago, and so before Emmeline, baby Emmeline, and we went and saw baby bears, which was really fun. That was cute. Super cute. Yeah, and then today they had a lot of exotic animals from like South America. Couldn't tell you off the top of my head, and I didn't prepare enough before we started talking to look them up. So sorry, but they're like the teeny tiny looking deer.
Oh yeah,
things. I can't remember what they're called, but we saw a teeny tiny deer, and then a thing that looked like a raccoon, but it was a lot flatter, not as, it was like longer.
I was like the flatter.
Longer tail. Yeah, sorry, not flatter. Not as stout, but like longer.
Elongated.
Yeah, elongated with like this really like mobile nose. Like, man, it was bending its nose. Couldn't remember what that one was called, but it was cute. Oh, it smelled so bad. But makes me happy I don't live on a farm.
Yep.
Although I would be used to it, but because I did. All you listeners out there, I don't think I ever mentioned this. I used to live on a goat farm. It was fun. It was awesome, actually. Except when I had to do the chores. The fun part was the games and stuff. But anyway, besides the point. And then we saw, let's see here, Anders got to ride on a pony. They just go in a circle.
Right.
That's it, but he had fun. And then they've got like baby goats, and we do the calves every year where he goes and he sits in the thing with the calves, and we saw teeny tiny pigs, and what else did we see? We saw I can't remember. We were all day in the sun, so I'm kind of a little bit red and exhausted and tired, and yeah, that's all we did. The rest of the week was just a week. It was a rough one, though. I went to the temple, which was nice for the first time in 2.5 years, I think.
Oh, wow.
Maybe a bit longer. Yeah. So that was nice.
That is nice.
Yeah. How was your week? You had a dishwasher fiasco. How did that pan out?
Oh my gosh, Kindy, you have no idea. The dishwasher we bought when we moved into this house a couple of years ago went on the fritz. And so I did all the troubleshooting things. I cleaned it. I pulled it apart. I adjusted parts. I listened. I watched YouTube videos. I looked up, I couldn't find out what was wrong. And finally, one of the times I got down under it, I flipped it on its side. I pulled off the...
You pulled this whole thing out from the
wall.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I turned it upside down, or on its side. And I pulled the motor off. Because I was like, this must be it. Because
you guys, just so you know, Emmeline is awesome, and if there's anything that breaks, falls apart, or needs fixing, she's your woman, because holy crap, she will fix something. If this was at my house, we'd call somebody and have somebody come and fix it. She will go and she'll get in it and she'll research it. She is her father's daughter. It's awesome. Okay, keep going.
Thanks. So yeah, I got on its side. I pulled off the motor because I had previously pulled that part off so I could pull out the like filtration system, and it was all
okay.
gunked up. Like it was
Oh,
clear, nasty, gunked up. So I cleaned that all out,
Ugh.
and when I put it back in and attached it back again, I was like, I think that gunked upness burned out that motor.
That
And-
is crazy.
Yeah, and because it just wasn't, the water wasn't sending up through the arms, the shooting arms.
Oh, okay.
And so it was
and
just
how did
like,
you determine that? How did you determine it wasn't
I
shooting up?
sat there and I listened to it while it was running.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And
You were determined.
I was determined. It like steamed cleaned our dishes, but it didn't like spray clean our dishes. So that's
Okay.
what the dishwasher was doing. And so we'd bring it out and there would still be a few dishes that just weren't very clean, and we're like, something's wrong. Yeah. So yeah, got it apart. And so I was like, okay, I think it's the motor. So one of the times I ran it, I like sat down and like watched the motor and listened to it real close. And it was just, it was kind of like hum clicking. It was going, and it wasn't the, this, and I could hear that the arms weren't spraying water.
Oh, okay. So it was trying, it just wasn't doing it.
Exactly. And I'm like, I think the motor got burnt out. So I researched it up online, and to get that part for the kind of dishwasher we have was half as much as buying a new dishwasher.
Oh my gosh.
And so I'm like, what do we do, Kyle? This is the part I think it is, but I'm not positive because I can't see inside the dishwasher, right?
Yeah.
This is just me deducing it by sounds and what I think and what I've looked at of. And he's like, well, let's get the part. And I'm like, but what if it's not the right part and we just spend, $300 getting it and then I was wrong. And he's like, I don't think you're wrong. I was like, okay. So I bought the part.
Don't you love that? I love that confidence. That, he had in you. That is awesome.
It was nice. Got the part.
Yeah.
We pulled it off. Put the new one on. Had to put it on a few times because the little where the rubber tubes were attached, water was leaking out after we got the new motor on. So we had to put on new little clamps, circle clamps on it.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So,
So not only did you have to get a new motor, but you also had to figure out how to make sure it wasn't leaking.
Yep.
Oh,
Because once the motor actually worked, water was shooting out of it. So,
okay.
So, but
progress.
the motor was the problem. Dishes are now cleaning. Dishwasher is fixed.
Yay.
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 But
Yay.
this is
And
for
how
all our extensive audience. Never, ever buy Maytag. And maybe some of you out there are Maytag fans, but we bought 4 new kitchen appliances. And after like 2 months, our fridge quit working. The motor on it was shot. Maybe we just got a bad batch. I don't know. But the motor on that was ruined and we lost all our food. And then 2 years later, the dishwasher motor went. And so don't buy Maytag. They're the worst.
Yeah. Which makes me so sad because I love their commercials. I
So
love
do
their
I.
commercials. They were so fun.
I was thinking like, good commercials. The people that I know that have had them, like they haven't complained about it. So they must be good, right? Yeah. And I asked the people at the appliance store and they're like, yeah, this is a good one. I was like, okay. And then we've had all these issues. So anyway, lots of battles with that dishwasher. It kept winning all the battles, but I won the war.
Yes. Yes. Way to stick with it to win the war. Oh my
No.
gosh. I would have been like, all right, I'm done. We're getting in the I don't know. But
I was close.
good job.
I got to the point
Yeah.
where
Oh,
I
I'm
had
sure.
pulled it apart and put it back together so many times that I was like, Kyle, let's just buy a new dishwasher. I don't care. Let's just do it. And he was like,
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think this is the piece we need. So I was like, okay.
I'll try one more time.
Yep. That was my week, was the dishwasher. That's really what it was.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. Ugh. That sounds awful. All right. So I have a holiday for us.
Yay! Obscure holiday with moms.
Yeah. It made me laugh when I saw it. Okay, guys and gals, it is Chocolate Pudding Day, June 26th. It's an unofficial holiday, but everybody loves it. So just do it. We're going to make it official. It's yummy and delicious. And let's see here. You can celebrate by eating yummy dessert with all your meals. Use chocolate pudding as a topping for your oatmeal or cereal for breakfast. Just skip your lunch and have a big bowl of chocolate pudding instead, or have it for dessert for dinner. So there you go. Elevate the flavor of your chocolate pudding. Make it Mexican style by adding cinnamon and a pinch of chili. That's what it is. It's chili and cinnamon. There's Mexican hot chocolate that I love, and I think it's that chili piece of it
Chili
too.
and cinnamon mixed in.
Oh, so good. Or an Indian inspired chocolate pudding by adding a dash of cardamom.
One thing I like about chocolate pudding and having a 6-year-old is every week he helps me make a dessert for the family. My older son, Lorenzo, cooks dinner for everybody, and that's the night that Clark and I make a dessert. So one of the fun things that we like to make is chocolate pudding. And it's pretty simple that he can mostly do everything without me. I just stand there and kind of observe and make sure everything's going good. But yeah.
That's awesome. You're a good mom. I get stressed out when Anders is in the kitchen with me, so I'm like, just get out. He likes pouring. I'll allow him to pour.
I let my boys stir. Pouring stresses me out. I'm like, they're gonna pour it everywhere.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's cute. Okay, June 26th. Everybody have chocolate pudding.
Okay. All right, so I have our word of the week. And here you go, Kendi. What do you think the word, and it's a noun, Jimjams means?
Jimjams. It's a noun? Oh
Yep.
my gosh.
Jimjams.
Jimjams. I think of like jam. Like I'm gonna eat some jam. Jimjams. Like Jim is eating jams. Jimjams. Okay, so is it a candy? That's my guess.
Okay.
It's candy. Jimjam.
It isn't.
That's Jimjams today.
It's slang for extreme nervousness or jitters. So when you're really nervous, you have the Jimjams.
Jimjams. That is awesome. That's a good one. I'm going to be like, people's got the Jimmy Jams. Because they're shimmying. Because they're nervous. That's fun. Extreme nervousness. Jimjams. Where did you find that one?
That was dictionary.com.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Nice.
I have our good news or kindness moment, kindness story. We need to come up with a name for it. I was like, we can call it good news instead of bad news.
It's good.
It's good.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah, we'll come up. Maybe our listeners, what should we call this segment where we talk about like the good things that are happening in the world or kindness things that are happening?
Time. The not Jimmy Jams. We're not nervous about it. Like how I snuck that in there.
Yeah. Good job. Oh yeah, and use your word of the week sometime. When you're feeling extremely nervous, say, "Oh, I have the Jimjams." I don't know.
Oh, I'm so Jimjams for this conference call. It'll be great.
Yeah.
No one will have any idea what you're talking about.
All right, so good news. Help us name it. This is a story of Hody Childress. He's a farmer and a U.S. Air Force veteran. He's from Geraldine, Alabama. He died recently, and his daughter mentioned this at the funeral, that for a decade, this quiet and humble gentleman was a sort of guardian angel for the town's poor and sick. What he did is one time when he was visiting the drugstore, upon hearing of his neighbor's inability to pay for and afford their medications, he handed Brooke Walker, the owner of the drugstore there in Geraldine, Alabama, a $100 bill. And he said, "Here, this $100 bill is for anyone who can't afford their prescription. Don't tell a soul that the money came from me. Tell them it's a blessing from God." And then, for a decade, at the beginning of the month, he would go in and hand her a $100 bill and say, "Don't say it's from me. Tell them it's a blessing from God," and helped the people in his town get their prescriptions and their medications. And nobody had any idea except the pharmacist. And then once he got too exhausted to actually make the trek because he developed pulmonary disease, he decided he needed to enlist some help. And he entrusted the task to this daughter that told this story. And she said, "I was shocked. I had no idea that he was helping people at the drugstore." It was his funeral was January 5th, 2023. And he just, for over a decade, he helped the people in his town. Thanks, Hody Childress. What a good guy you are. Being a good example to all of us and showing us what kindness can do. Because it helped lots of people.
I'm sure. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Can you imagine, though, being the manager of that pharmacy to be like, okay, who does this money go to? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people who are struggling.
Yes.
That need their medication. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. That is so sweet.
Yeah.
What a great man.
Yeah. Now, I have a story to tell. Kenny's been asking me about this story for a while, and she knows parts of it, but she hasn't ever heard the whole thing altogether.
I'm so excited.
I'm going to share it. I know sometimes as a mom, I try to be the best mom I can be. And that's sometimes can put some pressure on, but sometimes I fail miserably. And this is one of those times. So this story takes place several years ago. I woke up one morning to see Clark sitting on the computer chair. He was a toddler at the time. And he was purple. And no, I wasn't still dreaming, although I thought I was for a few seconds. The night before...
Wait, so...
I had painted my nails and had left the nail polish out. He had opened it up and proceeded to spread it all over his body. What wasn't on him was all over the computer chair, a bit on the computer desk, and some of it had made it to the floor, staining the light tan carpet purple. So, how do you get nail polish off a toddler? Answer, not fast enough. He only had a diaper on, so it was mostly on his skin. He and the tub were tinged purple for a few weeks after that. With just this, it was a pretty good fail because, put away the nail polish if you have a toddler, right? But the day isn't over yet. I got his older brother off.
To be fair, Clark is, holy crap, he's like a whole other level. He's like 3 toddlers in one. Like, this kid gets into everything. Okay, go ahead with the rest of your day.
Okay. So I got his older brother off to school, and after feeding Clark and I breakfast and playing for a while, I got him down for his morning nap. I clean what I can and the nail polish off the carpet, the desk, and the chair. Then went to the bathroom to turn on the curling iron. And then I went to do my morning treatment, my vest and nebulizers. So these were for my cystic fibrosis. And my lungs weren't in very good shape. At this point, I was on oxygen. I don't know if you remember. I had the nose cannula in all the time.
Yeah, she took a pretty big hit with the pregnancy and delivery, mostly the delivery with Clark.
Yeah.
It was scary.
It was.
That's another time, though.
Yeah. Me being on oxygen will play a part later in the story. Partway through my vest, so I'm kind of attached to this thing to the wall. It isn't portable or anything. It's kind of like attached to a big machine that has to be plugged in. So while I'm sitting there doing that, I hear screaming coming from the bathroom. I drop everything, unplug and everything, and I run in to see Clark sitting in the sink with the hot curling iron resting on his foot. He's staring at it uncomprehendingly, and I'm acting fast, removing the curling iron and assessing the damage and realizing it's not too bad and that cold water is the cure. Not anything that we need to get medical assistance for. So now we just play in the tub again for the rest of the morning, giving me more time to make him less purple. But cold baths aren't as fun, so I gave him a basin of cold water for his foot and a warm bath. Lesson 2, don't leave powered up curling irons on unattended.
Oh, man.
Now, I'd like to say a day like this has never occurred prior or since in all my days as a mom. This was like my doomsday. Knowing that it's not over yet. Buckle up, Buttercup.
Oh, my gosh.
After lunch, we sat down to play blocks and cars. After a while, he went into the kitchen to retrieve the cars that went in there. At least that's what he told me. After a minute, I thought, he should be back by now, and went in to see him standing in front of the open fridge with a gallon of milk tipped over. In the fridge, with the lid off, and milk everywhere. It's in the fridge, on the rug in front of the fridge, under the fridge. And the toddler is holding a now almost full sippy cup. I think in his mind, this was a win. He got his sippy cup topped off. This is when the frustration started for me. Before that, I thought, these are both my fault, and I felt horrible about them. This one was him. And a huge stinky mess if I didn't get started on it right then. Lesson 3, follow toddlers into the kitchen. Now, this is where I should have strapped him into the high chair. Hindsight. Am I right?
Yeah.
But I decided he was going to help me clean this up. And while I'm pulling the fridge out and telling the dogs to get out of the way because they wanted to help clean up the milk too, there was a knock at the front door, or the doorbell rang, or some such commotion, which I didn't hear. But guess who did?
The toddler.
Yep.
Oh, no.
A few weeks before this, we had ordered new blinds for all our windows. The ones when we moved into this house were falling apart. The delivery guy must have done one of those things where he brought all the boxes up to the door, knocked, and then left. And normally this wouldn't be a problem that Clark had tried to answer the door because we had one of those top-of-the-door lock bolts. But that morning, after I got the older one off to school, I didn't lock it, distracted or some such thing. So while I'm in the kitchen yelling at the dogs, my toddler opens up the door and wanders right outside. After pulling at the fridge, I look around and notice my missing tiny human. Look in the other room and see the front door is open. I book it outside and the toddler is running down the street in the street. I chase him down, which leaves me out of breath because I had to abandon my oxygen back in the house. Yep.
Yeah.
Because it was also one of those big machines that had to be plugged in. I didn't have a portable one. So I pick him up, and he's a big guy. He was, you know, I don't even remember how much.
Kid.
He's a stocky, big toddler. Everybody thought he was 1 or 2 years older than he actually was. I grab him and pick him up.
Tall and stocky.
Yeah. I turn back, and running up to us are the dogs.
Oh, no.
Lesson 4, shut the door behind you. The old dog is sniffing around and headed toward a big field near our house. The puppy looks ahead, behind me now, and sees an elderly neighbor walking her tiny dog, who sees my dogs and starts yapping at them. The dog, not the old lady. My puppy runs past me to meet his new friend. It's important to understand that while my puppy, this is Oscar, was only 8 months old, he was almost 100 pounds.
Big dog.
He is huge, yeah. So for a moment, I stand there debating what to do. Do I grab the old dog and the toddler, get them back to the house, and come back for Oscar? Or do I go and try to attempt getting the puppy while holding the toddler and not worry about the old dog, Cassie?
Yeah.
But then I see the old woman pick up her yapping dog as my puppy approaches. I jog, or at least I attempt to jog, over, holding my toddler and apologizing to the woman. I grab my puppy by the collar, and she tells me how her dog was attacked by a big dog in the past, and how her dog was really scared of my puppy. I apologize again and try to pull the giant, excited, and I might add harmless puppy, Oscar, away back toward the house. He didn't want to go. He just found a new friend. My lungs are starting to protest at me and asking for some oxygen, please.
Are they starting to hurt at this point?
Yes.
Oh.
So finally, I get the puppy's attention enough that he lets me pull him away. We cross over to our side of the street. I call to Cassie, but she either doesn't hear me or decided to ignore me, one of her talents. So I head her direction to shoo her toward the house with my foot, but she starts heading farther away. So I set down the toddler and trot forward with the puppy to grab the oldie by the collar too, telling toddler to wait right there. Holding both dogs now, I turn around to see the toddler running back into the street, and a truck is coming down the road. I abandon the dogs to chase after Clark. Luckily, the truck saw him and had slowed down to let me get him safely. Meanwhile, the puppy decided that this was the perfect time to go again to visit his new friend. The old woman hadn't actually moved at all. She was still standing there, holding her dog, watching the crazy parade. I don't know.
Yeah.
The exertion by this time has taken its toll on me. Running out into the road, hauling around my big guy and my puppy, my lungs are screaming. The woman is yelling at me to come get my dog. Holding my toddler now, I make my way to her to get the puppy. I grab his collar, but again, he's not wanting to leave. I'm telling him to come and pulling with my reduced strength, but in the meantime, the yappy dog is adding to its owner's anxiety, the way that would happen.
Oh, yeah.
So now she starts yelling at me. Can't I control my dog? Why isn't he on a leash? Can't I just take him home? I shouldn't even have dogs if I can't control them.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Woman, freaking walk away. Walk away.
She said that
you only have 2 hands.
Yeah. Yeah. So then she threatened me. She said that she was going to call the authorities if I couldn't get my dog away from her. This all took place in a very small amount of time. This was apparently my limit at this moment in my life. And I squared my shoulders, looked her right in her face, and in my deadly serious voice said, "You know what, lady? You do that." Oscar must have recognized the seriousness of this situation and immediately followed my lead, and we headed back toward the house. I called to Cassie. She also recognized my tone and followed me, holding the toddler and the puppy by the collar back to the house, where I shut the door, did the top lock, put the toddler in his high chair with a snack, sat on the floor, and cried.
Oh. While breathing in your oxygen.
So lesson 5, or whatever number I'm on, always use your serious voice, or don't be a parent. So there you go. What should we call that? Fails with moms?
No, not that one. Oh my gosh. That's like Hurricane Katrina times 5. No, I don't. Holy crap, though. Oh my gosh. Emmeline, that's awful. Those are one of the days where you're like, if one more thing happens, I'm about to kick a door.
I go the opposite direction and I have meltdowns.
Yeah. No, I probably would melt down and kick a door. I did that once. I was crying and frustrated and kicked a door.
Did you kick a hole in the door?
I broke it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I've kicked a wall once and I've kicked a door. Oh, Emmeline, that is awful. That is awful.
So there you go.
Oh, man. Kids are hard. Kids are hard.
Yeah.
They're like the best ever. And, you know, I mean, there's nothing like being a mom, but oh my gosh, they're hard. And Clark is rough.
Oh,
he's like another level.
He is. I sometimes see moms with little boys that just sit still.
You're like, what?
And I'm like, that boy isn't a real. That isn't real, right? That's pretend. I'm imagining this.
Yeah,
I have fake. One of my sister-in-laws, Joy. Her and Doug have a little boy, and he just sits nicely. He'll sit and read stories with you. He's just so calm and.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Not your boy.
Not
He's
my boys.
Like a mile a minute, a mile a second. Yeah. Well, Lorenzo, I don't remember Lorenzo.
Lorenzo was the same way.
But I remember Clark. Oh, man. Yeah. I don't know. That's not a mom fail because Clark is like, he's hard. Like, okay, you guys. Emmeline would tell me these stories of like all these messes and spills that this kid would do. Like, just would get into everything, and you can't lock everything up. You can't. That's ridiculous. It's impossible. It's frustrating when you're trying to cook and you're like, seriously, you got on the counter to get up to something to get it spilled everywhere. Like, I still remember you telling me about the chocolate powder.
Oh, yeah.
For your like chocolate milk that you used to have all the time. And it just, Nesquik, and it was everywhere. That is brutal to clean up. So
Cassie was enjoying herself.
I'm sure she was.
I was like, get out of here. Oh, no. You're going to be sick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. But the milk, I mean, they're good helpers for that. I'd be like, enjoy, and then I'll just clean up your spit when you're done. Oh, man. I'm so sorry. That is awful, especially since your lungs were like, you just, you were so worn down. And then not having your oxygen at all for that length of time. And for that lady to just stand there and be like, you gotta control, like, walk away. or help. Like, those are the two options. You can't stand there and then get mad for the dog to come back over because, I mean, oh my gosh.
And a part of the reason I cried is because I was like, I treated that lady awful. Like, that was not the right way to do that. Gosh.
Yeah. You know what, though? Of all the ways to have told her off, that was nothing.
Oh, I felt horrible. I felt so horrible.
You shouldn't have. You
know what? It was my tone. That was, you know what, lady? You do that. Oh, I'm so angry. And I gasped all the way home.
Yeah. That's the thing too, is like, you don't know what people are going through, and so to be that quick to judge, and it's like oh my gosh, just, I mean, the obviousness of the fiasco of your child and your two dogs, like, put them on a leash, don't let your kid out. Well, duh. That's kind of obvious.
That is what I was trying to do.
Free Willy my children and dogs. It's, yeah.
Lesson 6 to this is you never know what somebody's going through, and so don't judge.
No.
So.
Yeah. Especially
that story's full of lessons.
It is. Holy crap. Oh my gosh. Well, and especially with the curling iron, like that, you put your
was
kid
taking
down
a
for
nap.
a nap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He could get out of the crib, like,
yeah,
and open the doors, and the vest is loud, so I didn't hear any of that going on. So,
yeah. But at least, I mean, you didn't have to take him to the hospital room.
He has a funny scar on the top of his foot still. So.
Oh, and that was why.
Yep, that was
why. Because of that burn.
That's the curling iron.
Lesson learned for him too. Don't.
He doesn't remember. Things. Oh, poor kid. Oh,
probably not. Clark. Such a menace. Such a cutie, though.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, you've got good kids. Well, that was a good story. Holy crap. It's intense. That's a lot in one day. Oh my gosh. It's definitely the perfect storm.
Yeah. Well, do you want to do our movie quote?
Sure. So our movie quote is, tomorrow's performance goes anything like this, I won't be able to show my face in the street. That's our quote. I'm so excited for this movie. And now to talk about Daredevil Season 2. Oh my gosh. This is the season. Okay, so I don't remember most of the beginning because it's been several weeks because me and my husband can't get
together
a good hour.
Yeah. Kids need you. Yeah,
kids and tired and work, and because there was I think one night I had to work later because I didn't get as many hours in as I needed to. So yeah, like during the work week there's no way, and then the weekend, like
relaxing and
relaxing, and we're tired, so it takes forever. So I don't remember the beginning part of season 2. I do remember the stairs.
Okay, so Daredevil Season 2 starts out with the Irish mob wanting to take over the drug lordness of the city. And they get all shot up, but there's a survivor who makes it out alive and hunts down Nelson and Murdoch. And then he's kind of a mainer character, this survivor guy. What's his name? Grotto? Kind of for several episodes.
Good memory.
Because he's kind of like trying to figure out what happened to him. So, And that's when we meet Frank Castle, who later gets called the Punisher by the media. Is it the media that names him the Punisher?
Yeah. Yeah. Because he's shooting up all the bad guys.
Yep. Well, what do we want to talk about there? Like what we liked about Frank Castle, or maybe his motivation? Do we want to talk about his motivation? Like why he decided to kill all these Irish dudes?
It's kind of interesting because he's got a dynamic where he's fine killing people. He's totally fine with it, and he's good at it.
Yes.
But he doesn't do it until his family is brutally murdered in front of his face. And then he's got a very, very, very strong will to live. He doesn't have any like extra strength, like so far, at least that I can tell, but he's just super uber motivated to kill the bad guys that were participants in getting his family killed.
Yes.
Like that's his whole goal. And I love how his whole goal not ends, but like how it perpetuates.
One thing that I kind of wanted to touch on was the rooftop scene that you had our quote from last week, where the Punisher gets Daredevil and he's tied up on the roof and they're kind of having this.
Yeah.
It's almost like a philosophical discussion. They're interesting points. The Punisher's idea is that, murdering criminals stops the crime from happening. It ends it. Mm-hmm. So they won't ever do wrong again. And he says, he's like, you just delay the inevitable by injuring them. That's all you're doing. You injure them, but then once they get all healed up, they're going to go and do their awful things again. But see, Daredevil, he has the philosophy that no criminal is beyond redemption. He's like, everybody deserves chances. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can see it both ways. I don't agree with it, but I understand where Frank Castle gets that idea. Because there's sometimes when I'm like, oh, that person's awful. Like, if we had put, some awful criminal behind bars sooner, like, that would have ended. Or if they would have died in a train crash or a car crash, or, if they would have died in some other way, that horrible thing wouldn't have happened, right? Or horrible things. And so I understand his thought process there, but I don't think it's right.
Yeah, you can definitely follow, the reasons why he's doing the things that he's doing and be like, oh, okay, yeah, you kill them. They're gone. It's over. There's no more. But where, Daredevil's like, but they can be redeemed. And it's true. I mean, it's so true to life, because there's a podcast I listened to where these criminals have done these horrific things, or they've just, they've been drug dealers or pimps or, all these things. And then something happens and it kind of changes their life around. And so then they start to do good things instead of doing the bad things. And so if you don't give someone that chance, I mean, everybody, I agree with Murdoch, but you can definitely see Frank's point as well. And that
I think part of it stems from these cops come to find out that this was like a sting operation where his family dies. Yep. And the cops knew all these bad guys were going to be there. All these drug lords and criminals. I was going to say crime fiends, and I'm like, that's not it. All these crime fiends and all these criminals were there, and the cops knew, but they were going to let it play out so that they would do the illegal activity so that they could get arrested and put behind bars. And he's like, if they would have been taken out beforehand, my family would still be alive.
Well, and because they were waiting for the big dog. And that's one thing that I feel is kind of frustrating with our justice system, because there's things that I don't know, it's kind of like this weird dynamic where and I'm sure legally, like, you have to catch them in the act to be like, okay, you did the thing, so you're going to jail for life or whatever.
Right.
But it's almost as if they're just letting bad things happen. And I wish I could think of something specific, but it's just kind of this thing where it's like, but couldn't you just take all the bad guys, no matter what level they're at, and run them through the justice system, and just keep taking out any bad guy, no matter what level? Like, why do you have to get the big dog? Because you know what? Somebody else is going to replace them. So just take the lower end guys until you get to the big bad guy. I'm not making my point across at all, but it's frustrating to me when you find out that they allow criminals, no matter what level. Well, I mean, I guess there is a certain level. More like undercover stings, where it's like people are undercover and they're given money and they're given drugs to make it look like they're the bad guys. And I don't know. I can understand it, but it's also like, but you're doing the exact same thing to catch these other individuals. Like those drugs, that money is still in circulation. Like, it's going into circulation. They're given money to then purchase. Well, I guess they're given money to purchase the drug. So that's getting it out of circulation. So I guess that is a horrible point.
Where's the moral line? Like, do we have to be bad guys to catch bad guys? Or why can't we use good to get rid of the bad?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to.
We're gonna need to interview an FBI agent or something.
I know. Yeah, let's get out all of our contacts, and there's one I know, but I'm pretty sure he didn't do anything undercover. So,
but he probably knows all the questions we're asking. Like, why don't they do this?
Probably, because I understand the undercover thing, but I can't even articulate what I'm trying to say because I can't think of a scenario to make my point come across. So I'm just going to have to bring it up later, and we'll just end it there and get back to Daredevil 2.
Okay, so the next big character we meet is...
Oh, yeah, Elektra.
Yes. She comes back and she's like, hey, Matt, remember me?
Yeah, we've got 2 new people. I do not like her.
Good. I hate her so much. She's the reason why I don't like season 2.
Oh, really?
Oh, I have the hardest time. Season 2 is my least favorite of the 3 seasons.
Okay. Here's one problem. Not one, but one that really stuck in my head that I had. They're in the building and all these quiet ninjas are coming.
Yeah.
Okay, he can't hear them, but he can hear their weapons.
So the reason why he can't hear them is they can slow down their breathing and their heart rate.
Okay, but weapons don't breathe.
Right, but he can hear them unsheathing weapons. Like, swing.
But he can't hear them moving.
The swings. He can hear the
swings. The swooshing of the air.
And the swoosh. It's comics.
But they swoosh through the air?
It's comics. You got to remember it's comics. They write swoosh really big across the page. All the swooshes are a big deal.
But the ninjas don't swoosh. They swoosh their arms when they go to punch him.
Yeah, but they've already swooshed their weapons. They're ninjas. They have silent arms.
Oh, okay. They don't swoosh. There's no swooshing or breathing, but there is breathing because that's how he can finally hear them. They're exhaling.
Yes.
So it's like he can't hear them, but he can hear them.
Yes.
I get it.
He has to like really focus to hear them, whereas everybody else just breathes and like normal. And he has to really hone in to hear them. Plus, he did get a shot in the head his Daredevil costume protected him, but it did make him really like out of it. Like his powers were out of whack for a while. So maybe that plays into it,
I guess. So it's the part where she finds out, and that's the other weird thing. I did not understand what was going on. Where she finds out she's the Black Sky.
Yes.
That I hated that scene. That scene, they could have done it so much better, because they could come in, Stick says things, and maybe it's because I couldn't hear what they were saying. Might be part of why I didn't know what was going on. And then the things that they were saying, I'm like, they are so cryptic and so, like, I didn't need them to spell it out for me. But all of a sudden, Murdoch, Daredevil, is like, Elektra, don't do it, or don't listen to them, blah, blah, blah. And Stick is like, they're coming for her. She's the one, or whatever. I can't remember. And then she was like, oh, I have the power, and I'm going to grab the sword, and then we're going to run away. Like, it was so annoying. I hated that scene. I was super annoyed. I was like, okay, whatever.
So they kind of like piece it together leading up to that. And so if you don't catch all the little pieces, it's confusing. So essentially, the Black Sky is what they were preparing for. You know, when they had all those... I don't want to reference this part of the show because it's despicable to me. Oh, I hated it so much. But those kids that are like the walking
blood bag.
Blood bags.
Blood recyclers or whatever.
Yeah. So what they did is they were taking their blood and infusing that special box that was going to be for the Black Sky to make her...
Oh, so she goes in there.
To make her immortal like them. Because remember how they caught one of the hand ninjas and they did the autopsy on him? But he had already had an autopsy done on him. So what does that tell you? That they live lots of times. They don't die. They come back to life. So that's what they're storing up all the blood for in that box, is to immortalize the Black Sky when they find it. Now, Stick found her when she was a kid and realized she was Black Sky. And so he took her for himself so that the bad guys couldn't get her. But then he kind of used her in the same way.
Yeah.
But the Black Sky has the tendency, because murder actually gives them... What is it? Endorphins? What is it?
You said it right.
Is it endorphins?
Yeah. The feel-goods.
The feel-goods, yeah. That she gets really excited and happy when she murders. That's what the Black Sky is. But a lot of them don't know that that's what they are, because people don't go around murdering people, right?
Yeah.
When they show... in season 1, how Stick takes out that one kid that is a Black Sky. He didn't know he was Black Sky yet, but they were going to show him what he was, and then he would realize that he enjoys murdering, and then they were going to put him in the box and stuff. Anyway, so it's kind of like little things all along that you got to kind of piece it together. It's like a puzzle where they're giving you a piece here and there, and you got to kind of go...
dumb then.
No,
it was not obvious enough. It was like so cloaked in like randomness that they didn't it didn't piece together at all, and it is so anticlimactic.
Yes, it is. Yeah, season 1 was not my, or season 2 was. I'm just like, But there is good stuff in there, and there's stuff that if you miss it, if you don't watch season 2, you won't get season 3, which is my favorite.
Okay.
So,
yeah, okay. Well, good. I'm glad it gets better, because, man, that was, I don't know. It wasn't bad, but...
But yeah, Stick found Elektra and found her when he realized what she was and hid her from the bad guys. but then used her abilities to try and kill off the bad guys, kind of like the Punisher does, you know?
Yeah.
So it's down to that issue again. Do you kill bad guys, or do you give them, everybody can be redeemed? So that's what season 2 is all about. So that when you picked that quote, like, this is the quote, I was like, that's the perfect quote. That's a perfect quote to explain season 2. Like, it was the perfect one. So good job.
Oh, God. Well, thanks. I tried. It just stuck out to me. Well, and it's interesting too, because that whole dynamic of Styx using her for the same thing that the bad guys would have used her at what point, who's the bad guy?
Yes.
Styx almost comes across as being the bad guy, because he's like, you know,
but he's trying to stop the war.
Yeah, it's like, well, how do you know there would have been one? Like they're trying to find her, who's the good guy, because they're just killing other. I don't know. I guess they are the bad guys because but they are the bad guys because they were using kids to be blood bags, which that was crazy.
Okay, we gotta stop talking about that episode. It's like it's the one that I hate so much.
Okay,
it's so icky.
Okay, so let's talk about the last episode. Daredevil and Elektra are basically getting cornered. What is it called? It's like a standoff kind of a thing, and he's like, I'll follow you everywhere. I don't know if he was serious or if he was just saying that because he knew they weren't going to make it out alive.
Right.
Because before that, he goes and he rescues Karen and he touches her face and like makes sure that she's okay. And so it's like, okay, dude, who do you love? I guess it's his past and then his more recent past.
Right. I think he was kind of coming to terms with that. I did love her at one point, and I still care about what happens to her, but he's kind of like realizing that. I think. That's at least what I got from it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and so they're like right before they go out to, battle the silent but not silent ninjas, there's like videos, there's scenes of a bunch of them coming, and they're banging on the door. They're trying to get into the room, that, they're falling in the building. They're coming on the roof there, and they make it seem like there's tons, and then they go out and there's like 10 of them. Like, where'd they all go? Why aren't there more? There's just 10. It was really annoying. It was like, yeah, you misrepresented this part.
Well, they're super powerful. Even just the few that there are.
Daredevil and Elektra.
No, the ninjas.
Yeah, but they made it seem like there were a lot of them. Like more than 10. And then they get out on the roof and there's only 10. Like, they could totally take them out. And they did.
Yeah. And Elektra sacrificed herself for Matt, so maybe she was being like, you know what, I do choose you, Matt, and I choose this. So maybe that was her true answer, that she chose in the end to be a good guy.
Yeah. But who's to say she's not dead? They could have just put her in that box. Ugh, I bet they're going to revive her, aren't they? And then she's just going to be this evil person that Daredevil has to fight off. Because we don't know yet. Do they have to be alive or do they have to be dead when they get put in the box? Is that how everybody gets resurrected? Is they're dead and they get put in the box and then they never die? Because that one guy was dead. He was dead for sure. So they're going to bring her back, aren't they? That's the reviving box. Ugh. Gross. She's coming back.
I'm glad we're on the same team with her, because, man, I don't like her.
At all. Mr. Murdoch is going to have to re-battle her. I do like what do we want to spoil the very end of... I mean, we've already spoiled so much,
we kind of did.
Do we want to go all out? And
Yeah, let's do it. People,
I do
they
love-
know. They know that this is what we
Yeah.
were reviewing.
Yeah, I do love that he finally comes out to Karen.
Yep. And she kind of like, she supported him all along, like Daredevil. She was yeah. So
Yeah.
it was very rewarding for her to find out. For me, I was like,
Yeah.
yay, because she loves Daredevil. So
yeah, and I'm sure it's like
biggest supporter.
I just the look of it. I mean, I didn't see if she reacted or anything, but the look of it before it, because Matt fell asleep, so I get to rewatch it again. And so I stopped it and rewound it. That's not a thing anymore. But before she said anything, but on her face, it's like going through all the things. So that means that you were there for that, and you were there for that, and that makes sense why you cupped my face when you came and rescued all of us. And
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. She's putting it all together. And that explains all your little injuries over
Yeah.
over the year.
You're like, I'm not stupid. This makes sense. I knew you weren't a klutz.
Yep.
You just, yeah. I, not gonna lie though, I kind of did want him and her and Castle to get together for a little bit. I was like, I wonder if they get together, but I just want
You just
love
pair
everywhere.
Karen with everybody.
I do. I like her better with someone for some reason. By herself, she's annoying to me. I don't know why, but I can tolerate her when she's in love. Well, and that's why I watch stuff.
Yeah,
The love story.
I watch it for the love story too.
So I'm always rooting for somebody to get together.
Every book I read, every movie I watch, every show I watch, I am looking for the love story.
Yep.
Just like you said, as little as it is, that's what I'm watching for.
Yep. I get hooked in if there is a slight possibility.
Here's one that is very slight. In National Treasure, when there's that one scene where they go in and they buy clothes and they're standing with the door in between them after they put their clothes on, and she like taps her foot on the ground funny. And I'm like, oh, she likes him. That's my favorite. Is that little scene in the whole movie. Like,
because they don't get together in that one till the end, right? That was satisfying.
Okay, so what we kind of
Good
talked
example.
what we did like and what we didn't like about it. So Mom approved. I think this is the same as the season 1.
Yeah.
Don't let your kids watch the show.
Yeah, you definitely need to have a mature audience, one that understands
that this is a TV show.
or at least can handle. Yeah,
this is a TV show about a comic book that they can understand that, and it doesn't freak them out because all the people in this don't actually die. They're just actors.
I'm trying to think of another part there. I really did love the part of, this was season 2, wasn't it? With Karen and Murdoch standing in the rain, and he's like rubbing his finger up her arm. Woo!
Gave you chills.
Yeah. Well, it's already cold and she already has goosebumps, but it's just so affectionate.
It is.
It's
so
touching.
Cutesy. It's so cutesy.
Yeah, it is cutesy. Love that crap.
So do I.
Yeah. All right. Do we want to talk about? Okay, so our next episode, we are going to talk about the movie Who Am I This Time? This is like Chris Walken, like the beginning of his movie career. Like, I don't even know if he has hit big time yet. Probably And Susan Sarandon is in it. I think those are the only
When
two
she's
big
all
actors.
young
And she's super new. Yeah.
yeah. So
The
this
filming
is
is awful. It's not good, but I just love the storyline. I love the idea behind it. I just we in our preparation for our episode 1 or 2, we talked about it and I watched it like 10 times.
You should have done the tally board.
And I'll watch it 10 more times probably. Yeah. I was actually thinking about it. I was like, how do you create one? And I thought of one already.
Oh, you did? You thought of some things?
Yeah. No, just one. I don't know what else to do though.
Oh, well, I'll do one.
Yeah, you do a tally board. You be the tally board person.
Okay.
I don't know. I guess we both could, but so yeah. Who Am I This Time? You can watch it on YouTube. You just search Who Am I This Time? It'll pop up. It's free. Apparently, it was a program that they started back in the day. I don't even know when. And it was just like little productions that they just got together and put together and spliced together. There's the cuts are off. Some of the characters are. There is another big character, I should say, but I don't know her name. She's more of a supporting actress. She's not anything like main character type, but you'll know, or I've just seen it so many times that she should be in a lot of other things because she's actually pretty decent. So, but yeah. So Who Am I This Time? Search for it on YouTube. You'll get a couple commercials, but it's not that bad. So yeah, help us grow, tell others about us, share all the good stuff with moms.
Or men's.
Yeah, or men, we don't discriminate. We enjoy all types of listeners. If you want to interact with us, you can go to our website, Facebook, or email. They're listed in the show notes, so you can go there to track us down, give us ideas or things that you'd like to hear us talk about. We'd like to thank Red Productions for the music, and we'd like to thank our producer and our editor and our musical hunter and our financier and all the everything else, Emmeline, and to our listeners, we appreciate ya. Anders had a funny comment. I laid down next to him to wake him up, and he looks at me as if he has been awake forever and says, "But why are the guys wearing flag suits?"
I wonder what his dream was about.
Right?
Yeah. That's awesome.
Super fun.